Hello, crypto world! Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. In this video, I'm going to talk about Casper. I'm going to talk about where we are, what you should expect in the coming days. So let's dive in and get started. Now, you may be wondering what is going on with this chart. If you have never seen this, this is the very beginning of the Casper chart. So this is actually kind of mainstream trading. You're not going to find this on TradingView. I am using charts.cointrader.pro. This allows me to go further back in time than TradingView allows me to. And I also can do this on a very small time frame. So I'm on an hour candle, and that is key to this chart, being on a small time frame, because what takes place in the very beginning of this chart is key to interpreting what is taking place on today's chart. It is the very beginning of a chart that typically, if there's going to be a repetitive structure, it starts usually at the very beginning of the chart. Okay, so price begins with a move up. Now, this move up is actually a bull run. So Casper starts with a bull run. It then pulls back and starts a decline that eventually bottoms out, and that is another part of the Casper chart. So we have a bull run, we have a decline. The third part of the Casper chart is a sideways range-bound time that takes place after the decline. So in all of these parts of the structure, I break it up into smaller parts, or smaller fractals, if you will. It then starts all over again. It moves back up, it then does the decline, and then it does the sideways range-bound time. Now, all these fractals, they're repetitive. So, for instance, this bounce right here, it takes place again over here. This time it took place on a larger scale than this time. And the reason why things like that happen is because while the idea repeats, as we see over here, the timing, the height, and the depth, all of that will always be unique to the new iteration of the structure. So this fractal repeated once again over here, this time larger. So we have completed on today's Casper. Now, today's Casper, parts of it have played out on a very large time frame. Other parts have gone very quickly. But we have completed the decline on today's chart. It then moved up, and we have completed this entire sideways range-bound time. You can go back and view my Casper videos to understand this macro structure. In many of my videos, I do deep dives into this repetitive macro structure. So we currently are right here, this little green box, or if you will, we are over here, somewhere in this spot. Now, what does that look like on today's chart? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the fractals that exist right here and over here over on today's chart. And real quickly, before I do that, this area right here is the beginning of the bull run structure. This right here, we've already completed this. This is a much larger iteration of the bull run. So this bull run structure is repetitive. So once again, we have completed the very opening act of this bull run structure, and that looks like this. So the pink fractal is from over here, and the blue fractal is from over here. So the blue one is this bull run, the pink one is this bull run. So if we were to zoom in right here, we would see this first bull run structure. Okay, so here we are, zoomed in on a 5-minute candle. Yes, folks, a 5-minute candle. That's how fast this first structure played out. This whole entire beginning of the Casper chart played out on a very short time frame. It's a shame because it doesn't offer too much clarity. these candles take place on such a short time frame, there's very little definition in them, but it's enough to glean what we need to glean. So I take this fractal right here, this first bull run structure, and I break it up into 3 separate parts, and that will be 3 separate waves. So this is the first wave right here where it moves up from the low and comes to this resting point right here. That is this right here. So it comes off the low and comes up to this point right here before moving up into wave 2. You see that wave 2 right here. So this here is the second wave that takes place on this first bull run structure. And finally, there is the third wave. Now this third wave in this iteration, remember this has played out several times, this bull run. On this iteration, it crashes all the way down into wave 1 zone and then goes flat. So after wave 2, price moves up to a peak, just like it did here. It then came crashing down into wave 1 zone and then went flat. So that is the first fractal, the pink fractal. The second time this plays out, the blue fractal, is over here. Let's zoom into this and get a better look. Okay, so here we are zoomed in, and I've highlighted it in a green box so you know where the parameters are. So here is wave 1, like we see here. Here is wave 2, just like we see here. And here is wave 3. Now, there is a key difference between wave 3 here and wave 3 here. You may have already spotted the difference. This third wave comes to a peak, but it does not come crashing down into wave 1 zone. This one holds its ground. However, on today's chart, it did go crashing down into wave 1 zone. So it is my belief that it is this structure that we are following more closely. So where are we now? Well, we are right here, this circled area. I know, it's just going slow right now. This, in my last video, I called Slogville because it is just a slog getting through this part right here. Eventually, as you can see, it will move up fast, but we are not at that point yet. This is that point where we are at right now. If I was to take this part of the chart right here and copy and paste it, it would look like this. Now, I have taken this fractal from right here and stretched it to where it is the size of today's chart. So this pink fractal right here comes from over here. This blue fractal comes from right here. However, what I've done on the blue fractal is I've zoomed into a 5-minute candle. This is on a 1-hour chart, so it's not nearly as clear. So we get some better definition of the waves. Now, this structure over here took much longer to form, and because of that, we have more clarity in the fractal. However, despite the pink fractal being unclear, it is still the best match for what is taking place. Now, there's something important to take note of with this fractal here. Whenever you see parts that go flat, that is typically not represented on today's chart as just going flat. That is bounces or a large bounce or waves, if you will. It's not just a static thing. And that truth applies to here, just as we see over here. It is made up of waves or bounces as it climbs up to a peak. Now, I don't know the timing, the height, and the depth of this part of the chart that's unrealized. This theoretically could continue to bounce in this zone, and if it does, we would just have to stretch it longer. All that is going to be original to this new iteration of this structure. But at some point, and I would not be surprised if it happens soon, I could be wrong about that, it's going to move up. Most likely, it may do something similar to this, but it could be steeper or faster. Now, this blue fractal is the other option. It could kind of just slowly grind its way, continuing the slog. At this point right here in the blue fractal is where we start making faster progress, but there is something important to understand with this Casper bull run. When we get to the point where price starts moving up more aggressively, we also get to the point where price begins to pull back more aggressively. So at a certain point, we will reach this little red candle, which is this right here. After that, it begins to move up very aggressively, but it pulls back very aggressively. People, if you are uncomfortable with this pullback, you need to mentally prepare yourself for this type of pullback. We get the airtime here, but gravity increases. Even though it does this, it will still be in a bull run. Price will eventually break out of this consolidation that takes place. We are in the move up into the second corrective bull run structure. After this second corrective bull run structure, it continues to move on. As we go deeper and deeper into this bull run, we get more and more airtime, and the pullbacks become larger and larger. So mentally prepare yourself for that time, because at a certain point, we will be there. In my last video, I called this Slogville. We are still in it. Once we see price moving up here, this is where we kind of get out of it, at least this part right here. We should, at some point, hit a point in the chart where we start seeing more rapid price appreciation. We're not there yet. We could be close with this. Like I said, it could still bounce a bit more before moving up. But at the same time, part of me thinks that that move may not be too far away. So here's a zoomed out picture of the bull run structure. We are really just way down here. So we are early, folks. Now, I don't know how high it will go or how long it will take. At some point, it speeds up and we start making more progress. Once it gets here, price may move fast. I venture to say that many of you who are holding Casper right now most likely are going to miss this. This can play out very fast, even though it is taking forever down here. That's not to say you are going to miss it. It's just something that is going to play out potentially very quick, and it could happen at some odd time at night. We don't know. We'll see how it plays out. For those of you who are interested, on my Patreon, I have a series of 4 videos that I deep dive into the Casper bull run structure. It's a $5 a month subscription. I also have a Discord that is connected to my Patreon where we discuss Casper, XRP, many other cryptos. Like I said, it's a $5 a month subscription. If it's something that you think you might be interested in, you're welcome to join. I'll put the link in the description of the video. It is patreon.com/thecharthistorian. So here we are back at today's chart. Folks, we have some exciting days ahead. We are still in the Slogville phase of the chart. It's going to be a fight getting through some of this stuff. At a certain point, though, we will start getting that airtime. Price will begin to appreciate more rapidly. So my advice to you is, if you plan to go through the Casper bull run, mentally prepare yourself for some nasty pullbacks. But just remember, it's part of the game. You have to go through these pullbacks. Good times will come from them, but to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So I am warning you now of their existence, even though you don't see it yet. It's one thing to intellectually acknowledge that, oh yeah, there's going to be a pullback. It's a completely different thing to go through those experiences. So just prepare yourself. Hope you found this video helpful. If you did, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. If you enjoyed this type of technical analysis and you're not a subscriber yet, I recommend hitting that subscribe button. I'll continue to follow this chart as it continues to develop. We have exciting days ahead. We're only at the beginning of the bull run. I'm so glad you caught this video. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.